But there is one issue that the American people, whether they are Republicans, Democrats, or independents, whether they're conservative or progressive, are united on. And that is that we are sick and tired of paying by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs.
So Bernie's critics like to say that he has a penchant for hyperbole sometimes, but he actually could not be more 100% on the money here. Public polling actually shows that 82% of Americans, more than 8 in 10, think that cost of prescription drugs are too high right now. And lowering the cost of prescription drugs and everyday healthcare expenses for tons of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, independents, all alike, is something the Biden administration is working really hard towards right now. And it's not getting like any media coverage. Literally just last week, Bernie was at the White House with Biden touting their success in pressuring a lot of healthcare companies to cap the cost of things like insulin and asthma inhalers at $35. Did you see like any media coverage of it? Be honest. Bet you saw Trump's post about the eclipse though. Look, I know that presidential elections feel just like a years-long slog sometimes, and things around healthcare policy, insulin, asthma inhalers, is not the kind of stuff that, is sexy and grabby and lends itself to 60-second TikTok videos, though Lord knows I'm trying right now. But they're also the types of issues where like the stakes and the stark difference in this election could literally not be more clear. Trump is out on the trail right now, openly flirting with kicking millions of hardworking, working-class Americans off their Medicare, Medicaid, the health provisions of Obamacare, or the Inflation Reduction Act. Mind you, many of these quote-unquote working-class Americans who will be impacted by those types of cuts in a second Trump administration are his base. They're not even Democrats. Meanwhile, President Biden, to almost not just no media fanfare, to almost no political benefit to his re-election odds, is just doing the hard work day in, day out of trying to help American families only have to pay $35 for their kid's asthma inhaler or their kid's insulin. So just real quick, to bring this all home, let's look at this image I showed at the top of this video. It's some data from KFF, which is a really reputable, ideologically nonpartisan public polling firm that specializes a lot in like the healthcare space. This is data from one of their 2023 studies, so it's about a year old at this point, but still very relevant. They found that 6 in 10 adults take at least one prescription drug regularly. 6 in 10 Americans, and that 27%, more than 1 in 4 Americans, take 4 or more prescription drugs. When we think about the stakes of this election, think about surveys like this. The cost of prescription drugs is not an issue that's just like affects other people. It affects all of us. It affects probably many of you, the viewer, personally watching this. You probably fall into one of these buckets. If not, it affects your loved ones. It affects your children. It affects your brothers and sisters, your parents, your grandparents, your neighbors. People need to know where the candidates stand here.